Welcome to another episode of the For the Love of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. Today we'll be discussing quite the upset between Afghanistan and England. It was an interesting game to say the least. England seems to always be on the wrong side of these contests. In 2011, they lost to Ireland,
Yeah.
and in a T20 World Cup just before that, they lost to Netherlands. Um, Today they lost to Afghanistan. What's your take on the game?
Uh, in previous shows, we spoke about the Afghan team. We said that they have been having disappointing batting efforts thus far in the tournament. We looked at their bowling attack, and on paper, we said that it was a bowling attack that would give teams trouble if there was a decent enough total on the board. Today, Afghanistan batted well. They got a score of 284, and it always felt as if it would have been a tricky chase if they could pick up early wickets. What was very key in this game, I believe, Mujib and Rashid Khan were very good, but it was very important that they got a wicket from the seamer early up. He dislodged Johnny Bairstow early into the England innings, and that really exposed England a bit and set the game up. Joe Root was a key wicket in this game, and his dismissal really set England back. He's the person that is generally the glue in the innings. He looks to hold the innings together. So, a very good display from Afghanistan and a big upset in this tournament.
So it's welcome. It's quite a welcome back to form for Gerbaz. He has been slow in the previous games, and he's back to the player that we know. He's been very attacking. He got 80 from 57 today, and it really put pressure on the English seamers. Chris Wokes bowled 4 overs of 40, so did Sam Curran.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam Curran, and it was quite a very it was a very dominant innings from him. He was ably supported by Zadran at the other end, who
Mm-hmm.
stood out and made sure that he had the support he needed. A key point I want to note, read the English bowling, is Liam Livingston bowled well.
Yeah, he was the pick of the
Now,
bowlers,
now
probably.
seeing Liam Livingston get through so many overs, he bowled well, but he didn't pick up a ton of wickets. It would have given the Afghanistan bowlers some level of confidence to go out and know that they could upset or bowl England out. Having the seventh bowler be your best bowler on the day is quite worrying
For England.
for an English team that is looking to defend the title. Um, what's your take on the English batting effort?
I believe they were stifled. I think their panic set in. I believe panic really set in when Joe Root got out. His wicket really sent panic waves through the English team. You look at their 11. You look at somebody like David Malan to set the tone for them at the top of the order. Johnny Bairstow has been a bit indifferent in the tournament thus far. He hasn't really gotten off how we have expected him to. But Joe Root and Malan, you would think, are two key players for them. Josh Butler's form has been a bit indifferent as well, I would say. So those two are the two that have been probably the standout batters for them in the tournament. Harry Brook got a score today, he got some runs. But the power play, I believe the first 10-15 overs from Afghanistan really put the pressure on England and really set the game up. And it allowed Rashid Khan to come into the game and dominate. We spoke about him. We said that he doesn't really like bowling in the power play. He generally comes on around about the 14th, the 15th over. And today he was able to come in at a stage where there were probably 3 or 4 wickets down. So that allowed him to just express himself and be the attacking Rashid Khan that we know and the bowler that we're used to picking up a lot of wickets.
I was quite worried after Rashid's first over. I was like, Afghanistan has England 3 down. Rashid Khan comes on. We know he struggles against the
The
major
major
cricketing
team,
nations.
yes.
The last time he played against England in a World Cup, he bowled 9 overs for 110.
Yeah.
That was in the last World Cup. So when that first over went for 10, the first ball he bowled went straight into the back middle of Malan
Yeah.
for 4. And I'm like, well, this might be a case where Rashid Khan probably gives the game away. Normally, when you're watching Afghanistan, you want to fast forward to when Rashid Khan comes on to bowl. Now he's on. You saw that first over, you're saying, yeah, this is not looking so well. But then he found his rhythm, found his line and length on a pitch that was assisting him,
Yes.
and he never looked back from there. And he was actually the bowler to ice the game when he got Liam Livingstone out.
Yeah, that really sealed it.
That really sealed the game. Another interesting point. Ikram, the wicketkeeper, made 58 for Afghanistan. He only plays World Cups. He played the last World Cup, got a score of 80 against the West Indies.
Yes.
Disappeared after the tournament, and he's back now with Afghanistan again. And he has been he has played a major part in a famous win.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very important for Afghanistani cricket. Afghanistani cricket itself is younger than most of us who are watching the game.
That's true.
They only came to prominence in the late 1990s. Um, the English. Give me some more thoughts on the English bowling.
Uh I was disappointed in the bowling effort. I believe that the Seamers were almost shell shocked when they were attacked in the power play. Somebody like Sam Curran, who has been a major player for them in limited overs cricket, bowling up in the power play and then especially coming back at the death. The way he was almost jumped um, by Gerbers, it really set them back. I believe the bowling in the middle overs, it was it was fairly okay, but I felt like more could have been done to restrict Afghanistan. I believe they got too many runs too early. The first partnership, the partnership for the first wicket put on 114 or 115 runs, I believe. That is a massive partnership, especially on these wickets. We spoke about the state of these pitches and we said that how teams approach a power play and how they score the new ball would be very important. Um, we've seen thus far in the tournament that the teams that get through the power play and score the new ball well generally do well and post big totals, and that really set a solid platform for Afghanistan today. The English bowling, we spoke about it before. We said that it was not the strongest attack coming into the World Cup. They're missing a number of key players from the last World Cup, and this attack really has to put it together if England are going to do well in this tournament. And thus far, they aren't doing well. They didn't look good against New Zealand, and I believe they struggled a bit against an Afghanistan batting team today that not many would fancy.
Um, Back to Gerbers. He played well. He was out run out quite comically.
Comical.
Um, the the other batsman inside edge the ball to short mid wicket to David Willie. David Willie ran around, pick up with his left hand, one throw to the keeper, run out. I am I'm thinking people would say, well, people are saying it's a panic run. He was on not just hit a ball that look like it can be a single that could be pinched.
Yeah.
It's a single that most batters take consistently. Hit it to the left of a fielder
Yeah.
and run.
The,
David Willie
is
is left-handed.
They didn't identify
So
that.
you hit it to him, you're not realizing he's left-handed, and you take off immediately, only to realize he picks up with his left hand and throw down. Well, possibly could have thrown down the stumps, but got it into the wicket keeper. I'm wondering How many persons hit ball to Jadeja's left? Or um, Yuvraj Singh when he was playing, hit it to his left, not realizing or remembering that he's left-handed, and it's easier and it's an easier run. I've seen that happen with Jadeja so many times. I used to
Yeah,
see it often with Yuvraj as well, and Yuvraj was not the fastest
it's
mover. He was a good fielder, but laterally moving, he wasn't the
yeah, he
fastest.
wasn't the fastest. I feel like it's something that happens quite often. It is a detail that batters probably don't pay as much attention to as they should. Uh, the I think it happens because generally when you go out and play against a cricket team, the majority of the players are right-handed. So when someone is left-handed, it's almost an anomaly. He was certainly caught off guard today, I feel, and it was a wicket that could really be very detrimental to the Afghan innings.
Yeah, they kind of struggled after that,
Yeah,
and then Mujib and Rashid at the end
they got
added
together
added 50.
50.
Um, the way forward for England, they are in the relegation zone now. They have lost a game that they would have at the beginning of the tournament would have penciled in a victory for.
Yes.
So how does and the other they have Australia to play and South Africa.
Hmm.
They have Australia and South Africa, and they're not sure of winning both of those games. Travis said is coming back, and South Africa is on a roll, and they have given up points that they would have expected to
To
have gotten.
secure. Yeah.
So the way forward for them. Any changes to the squad.
I believe that England, they're almost at panic stations now. I believe that looking at the rest of the tournament, they'll feel that almost every game that they have to play from here is a must-win game. Um, when you look at the squad, I think everybody will be itching and looking at Ben Stokes. They need Ben Stokes back into that 11, I feel. Ben Stokes is a match winner on his day with the bat, with the ball. He's doubtful to bowl in this tournament because of his injury. But just his presence and what he adds to this English team and the fear factor that he brings, they are missing something like that. In a game like this today, um, it was a game that could probably be poised for Ben Stokes to come out and make a blistering 60 or 70 and push everything back, especially against the two Afghani bowlers that were dominant. They're two wrist spinners predominantly. Rashid Khan bowls a lot of googlies. Mujib bowls a lot of
But they don't
variations,
spin it that much.
but they don't spin it that much. But they're predominantly leg spinners. And somebody like Ben Stokes, his matchup today could have been very important. But I feel like England are at panic stations now. Um, they look at the tournament, getting into the top four, they'll have to take the scalps of some big teams to get in.
All right. You mentioned Ben Stokes coming in. Um, Previous to this game, you would have thought he could have come in easily for Harrybrook. You would have thought he would have come in easily for Harrybrook. Harrybrook got a score today of 60. It was a very, very, very good inning. It
Yeah.
was a mature inning. It's what you want from a number four.
Yes.
People are getting out around him, and he just stood there and kept his wicket and kept scoring. All bad balls went to the boundary, and he got the singles that you expected him to get. Um, Looking down the list, you'd think Liam Livingston, but Ben Stokes doesn't bowl again.
Yes.
And Liam Livingston today turned up. He bowled well. He got through his quota of overs. You'd also look at Sam Curran. Sam Curran is another bowler. How
Yeah.
how do they go about that change? Additionally, they might be considering with the form of Sam Curran with the ball, he's not getting the runs with the bat. They might be considering to bring Moeen Ali back.
I think Moeen Ali is somebody that could come back into the team. He could provide overs for them and provide a good batting option at around 6 or 7. Curran's form has been concerning, and it's very likely that he could be the player to go out of the 11
And who will you replace?
for Ben
Yeah,
Stokes.
who will you take out for Ben Stokes?
That is where the issue is because it becomes a scenario where you struggle to balance. They need the overs, they need at least 6 bowlers, and then you look at the top order and you think, who they can move out. That decision is a bit tricky. I'd have to give that one a bit more thought,
So they turn
honestly.
that over to Matthew Matt and his team.
Yeah, definitely. I'll turn that over to the coach and the selectors.
Concerning form as well, Chris Wokes. He has bowled 11 overs in the power play, 95 runs, 1 wicket. That's an average of 95.
And that is very unlike him because I saw a stat leading into the game where he was in the top five bowlers in the world since 2012, I believe, for wickets in the power play. He was averaging about probably 24 or 25 with 60 plus wickets, I believe. So that is not something that the English squad would have expected. I believe coming into the World Cup, you would look at him and think that he would be the leader of the seam bowling attack. He would set the tone for them in the power play, and thus far in this tournament, he really hasn't lived up to that.
The way forward for Afghanistan is them spoiling anybody else's party.
I did say that if anyone were to create an upset in this tournament, it would be them. They're a very dangerous team if they can get a good score on the board. They're a very dangerous team. I see two scenarios with them. Afghanistan batting first and getting a score of 250. I believe any team that they get a score of 250 against is in trouble in these conditions. And then also, I believe that if they can bowl first and get it together and restrict a team to around 210, 220, they would fancy themselves having a chance in that game. So they are a team to look out for. Very dangerous team.
Anything else?
No, I believe that's it from me.
So, Afghanistan, spoilers. England in trouble. That's the end of today's episode. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.